Welcome to the show.
So, there's like, America's a crazy place,
Sure is.
and there's been another shooting that's just crazy.
So latest in a long line, a young black man, 15 years old,
15?
was shot by a police officer on last Saturday, 29th of April. He had been at a party with it must have been like a big house party by the sounds of it. There was a lot of people, a lot of underage drinking, which is pretty standard for every high schooler's house party. Some neighbor had called the cops saying there's like a lot of noise and there's like heaps of teenagers who have been drinking.
Bloody neighbors.
So the cops have come along. 2 cops have come along. They've gone into the house, I guess, to check that there's underage drinking going on, and they say they heard gunshots. Well, they must have been gunshots because everyone was panicking and like sort of leaving the party. The cops have run outside. These 4 guys, Jordan Edwards, 2 of his brothers and 2 friends were in a car, and they were backing out of a parking spot and then trying to drive away. So from the initial reports of the police officers, they were saying that the car had been aggressively backing up towards the police officers, and they'd fired a shot into the car. The Jordan Edwards was in the front passenger side and was shot in the head, and the boys had driven down the road before they realized that he'd been shot and was dying, and he was declared dead in the hospital.
He was shot by the police.
Yeah, the police were the only ones who shot anything.
What were they shooting at?
The car. And initially they were saying that it was because the car was reversing towards them aggressively.
Why did they have their guns out?
Because they'd heard gunshots.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah. That makes sense.
So it doesn't sound like anyone there had a gun, or like there was anyone who'd drawn a weapon on the cops or anything like that. And then it came out later. So the police chief was the one who told it, like the reporters or whatever, in a press conference, the initial press conference, that the car had been backing aggressively towards them. He came out like a day later saying he'd reviewed the body cam footage from the police officer, which is the camera they wear on their chest.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The car had been driving away from the police officers
When
and
they
they'd
shot.
been advancing on the car when he shot. The lawyer for Jordan Edwards, for the family, says according to their account, the boys had been in the car, they were backing out of a spot, going to drive away. They heard someone swearing at the car, and then as they were driving, that was when the officer shot through the passenger window. I think the police account so far makes it sound like the police were behind the car, but I guess we'll find out whether it was through the passenger window or not. But completely, if the car was going away from them, there's nothing, right? There's no...
And it wasn't firing back at them.
Yeah, there's no, we were fearing for our lives. No one's pulled a gun. There's no weapon. There's no evidence of a weapon. The car was moving away from them.
I was trying to think, maybe they were pursuing him, but there was no reason to pursue them.
Yeah.
Right?
But, So this police officer's actually been fired.
Ooh.
And the investigation is ongoing. The investigation gets moved up a level, I think, to the county sheriff's office or whatever. So they're investigating it now. I think the Washington Post is on account. It's 330 something. This is the 330th person or something like that who's been killed by the police this year in America.
This year?
Yeah. Last year was 961, I think it was.
And what's
Around
the
there?
statistics of race in that?
I don't know, but it's a 5 times higher rate for black Americans.
But these are people that are shot that shouldn't have been shot.
No, just every
Well,
police
shot in general.
killing. Yeah.
Interesting.
So
yeah, and
how many
the kid himself is everyone's saying, he's a great kid. Played for his football team, a really good GPA, so a pretty stand-up kid. The police force for some, I guess the racial side of it, the police force in that county is 8 out of 10 is white, and the county itself is 4 out of 5 is black. So like the people in that
That's
neighborhood are
insane.
mostly black. The cops are mostly white.
Mm.
It's pretty crazy. Like, imagine if you were the person who had called the cops in the first place.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's not that crazy. Like, it's a bit like, I'm an old man. But, like, if there was teenagers walking around... No, the gunshots only happened after the cops got there. So the person who's called is called because there was, like, teenagers on the street who have been drinking and stuff.
Mm.
Like, at the end of the day, like, you would think that you could call the cops on that just because, maybe they're, like, unsafe.
Mm.
Like, someone should probably shut it down, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I've been at a party where the cops were called. They just came and said, turn the noise down.
Mm.
Yeah.
But imagine if you were the person who called for something like that and find out that one of the neighborhood kids has been killed by the police. Like, that would make you, like, never want to call the cops, eh?
Crazy.
Yeah.
For anything.
Yeah,
And this week, so if you remember last year, we talked about a story about a guy who had been shot. He was selling CDs outside of a store.
Mm.
This one, I can't actually remember if he had a gun or not. But he was on the ground, like the police were on top of him.
Yeah.
And they shot him. That was the video where he's like right next to a car and they shot him on the ground.
Mm.
The Justice Department came out this week saying they're not going to press charges
Shivers.
on the police officers.
which is one of the things everyone's so angry about, right? Is no one's getting prosecuted for this kind of thing.
Yeah, I think the only one is, I can't remember the name of the guy, but do you remember the video of the black guy who's running away from a cop and the cop shoots him like 8 times in the back?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that guy got charged.
You'd
So
hope
I think in this case he will, because I just cannot see how anyone could get away with that. The car was going in the other direction from the cops. There's no threat to the cops.
So we've covered like police shootings 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Like, how much of this is going on that we don't talk about? How many weeks has a story of a shooting going by that we don't pick up on and we don't cover?
Oh, heaps. There's
Is it stories like
330
this?
something.
But I just wonder how many stories like this and how many are just, I don't know, what goes on over there.
I mean, they're all pretty crazy because most other countries, like, cops don't kill people.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't happen. Even if you scale for the fact that there's 300 million Americans, it's way out of control.
Yeah, and if I didn't do anything research into this, so this might be completely off the wall. It's all demographics of where you live in America, in that all of those shootings, I imagine, are in like the same kinds of spots in the same cities. Of like, as soon as you go kind of outside the kind of, for lack of a better word, black areas, it would go down like exponentially in a crazy way.
Yeah, as a proportion, I think so. Yeah, because the actual proportion of African Americans in America is not heaps high, eh?
I want to say like 20, but I could be completely
like
off.
max 20%. It might even be less than that. There's heaps of Latinos. I think there's more Latinos than blacks, but and like I guess there are whites who get shot, definitely.
Yeah,
but it's just a way higher rate for black Americans. And then like people have done the statistical analysis, and it's because they encounter cops way more often. So like even stuff like getting arrested for possession of marijuana, it happens at a way higher rate for black Americans. But the actual usage of marijuana, there's no difference between white and black Americans.
Yeah.
So like they're arresting them for it and they're catching them for it because they're actually looking for it with black people way more than they're looking for it with white people. And if you have more encounters with cops and cops are this badly trained, like I'd like to think it was just because this guy's so badly trained. He might be racist or whatever. Like he might actually be psycho. But I think a lot of it seems to come down to their crazy, like they don't know how to like de-escalate a situation. Like it feels like with the cops in America, everything just goes to like a crazy level straight away.
Well, like I was just thinking to give a comparison. Like last week in Sydney, a guy stole another guy's $500,000 car, tried to run over 3 policemen, was in a high-speed chase, and got away. And throughout the whole thing, like no one was shot.
Yeah.
So like and like some kids are having a party and a car's driving around and someone gets shot in America. Like, do you think as much like race is obviously a big factor in this, and I think it's a undeniable fact that race plays a big part in this. Do you think like having guns is also
Yeah.
contributing to it as well? Because I think as a policeman in America, you think if I don't kill this guy, he might kill me. Like anybody here could have a gun.
Yeah, the threat is way higher because there's so many guns out there. Like the chance of a lethal encounter in America is like exponentially higher than here.
And
Like in New Zealand, they don't even have guns. Cops don't have guns.
Yeah.
They have an armed defender squad, so that if there's something violent, they call a special squad. A
That's
normal
right.
cop wouldn't even have guns. Maybe they need that in America. Maybe they need people who are so obviously like they're not armed that even like criminals wouldn't want to like shoot them because it's like this. What's the point?
never
But
gonna
still
happen,
have the
no.
ability to like arrest people or whatever.
And I think
Because some
like-
situations, just surely you can't send these guys to these situations because they're not trained to handle normal.
and as much as like as a cop you want to do your job, I think as a human instinct, when you're standing in front of a guy that you think could possibly kill you, like that drives someone to pull out a gun and shoot somebody else.
Yeah.
in the face.
In general, yeah, I think that's probably the biggest contributor to the high death rate. Doesn't like the biggest contributor to the high black death rate is the high rate of arresting them or pulling them over or
Yeah.
all that stuff
Yeah,
encounters.
Seeing them as more of a threat than a white person.
Yeah. But even without that, you would definitely still get a higher rate because they have guns. But then in this situation, it's not even that. A car driving away from you is not a threat.
So
No one looks at a car driving away from you and goes, I better shoot that.
Yeah, so cops in America are like racist. But
Some.
I mean, like it's just so common nowadays. Like, will they admit to the fact that there's an issue?
Yeah, most police departments in America realize they have a problem.
Yeah,
They probably just don't have the money or the resources or the willpower to go through all the training they would have to. And it's like, how much training do you have to do to undo someone's subconscious bias?
Yeah. And a lot of it
that's true.
is profiling, which is profiling count as racism.
Yes.
So,
That's
but it
one
is
of the
called
key components.
it's also like an important part of police work though, profiling, right?
Not really.
not racial profiling, statistical profiling maybe. But if you knew there's an equal chance that a white person or a black person is going to have drugs, and you're looking to arrest someone for drugs, would you pull over more black people?
Or would you pull over Brad Pitt?
Exactly. You probably would.
I think, Ali, what you're
I
sort
would.
of alluding to, like to take it to the extreme, like if you're in a shopping center and you see a guy being suspicious and he's Arab looking with a turban with a backpack, like are you saying it's okay to investigate that guy more than if he was a white guy? Because that's racial profiling.
Yeah, I don't know whether or not it's morally right, but you can definitely see where the person's coming from.
If you're a cop, you'd do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. As would I, but at the same time, like,
The case with Alton Sterling, I think,
Yeah.
was definitely a case of looking at a person and going, that person is a thug, like is an actual threat. Because he has 2 gold teeth in the middle of his mouth. He's a big dude. Like, he was the kind of guy I guess anyone would look at and go, oh, maybe that's trouble.
The one that really shouts out to me about this one is I can't think of why you'd shoot a car going away other than like I really want to kill that person
yeah.
or I'm having fun with a gun just shooting at a car going away.
He was using a rifle as well.
A
It wasn't even a
rifle?
pistol.
Really?
Yeah, he had a rifle out.
Do they
Which-
carry rifles?
Yeah, I guess. They're pretty... Some of the police forces over there are like paramilitaries.
That's
like, they have like
crazy.
armored trucks and friggin'
Yeah.
body armor.
Which
That's
is
insane.
Yeah, it'd be so
like, if you
interesting.
had that equipment, as if like you're
You'd
doing
wanna use
training
it.
with
Yeah.
it and all this other stuff, you've probably got this mindset that you're like a bloody special forces person.
Yeah.
To go to a teenage party?
These guys seem to only have one setting.
Well, and
Kill.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. No, and no one's told them, like, there's things we can do before you pull out your gun.
It doesn't help that this guy's white and he has like no hair, like he's a skinhead. So I don't know if he's a skinhead,
Like,
but looking at him, you're like, that guy could be racist.
because here pulling out a gun is the last
Yeah.
option. And, like, they have to think about, okay, what can we do here to
There's
make
like a
nothing
threat to
happen?
someone's life.
What you said just then isn't true though. They pull out the guns the first thing they do. Police. I
Well,
mean,
they'll tase people. They'll.
No, here they do actually pull out their guns weirdly
They-
early. We're not actually the best example in terms of policing as well.
Well, someone should pull out their guns.
I've been at a party in America that's gotten broken up by cops and gotten a gun pointed at me for like no reason.
No, he was talking about Australia
Oh, sorry.
as a
Yeah, I think in
No,
America
but
that is the first thing they do. Before they get out of the car, they pull out the guns. Whereas in
My-
Australia, I don't think that.
My brother had a gun pulled on him once when he was younger playing laser tag at night in a park because some people had called the cops saying these guys are running around with guns. And they'd like gotten stopped by the cops and the cops were shining a light, and then he like realized, like after they put the laser tag guns down, they realized that the cops had the guns.
They were like, pew pew pew.
Jeez.
But yeah, it definitely they don't usually have their guns out. But I mean in London, a guy got pulled out a knife in a terrorist attack, like in the tube station, and he didn't get shot.
Yeah.
Like they just took him down. Like
Yeah.
in America, that guy would have had like 20 bullets in him in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
America.
Clearly, there's. Yeah. You got any more to say on that?
John
No.
Howard.
It's ridiculous. This guy will probably, I think, get charged. Yeah.
I hope he does.
And I hope everyone who bloody posts All Lives Matter every time someone says Black Lives Matter is angry about this. Because if all lives matter, then this kid's life mattered.
Mhm.
Right?
All lives matter.
All right. That's the heavy topic for this week.